Hi everyone, welcome back to Small Town Music. I know we took a little bit of a break, a couple weeks with spring break and just life is happening and busy. And so today, this is not Laura, if you're confused, if you're watching the YouTube video or anything like that. Hold on, I gotta change the setting. So this is obviously not Laura.
I'm not Laura.
But she is a teacher that teaches near me and Laura. Sorry, I can't figure myself out today. So she's gonna talk a little bit about her experience and just what she does and yeah, what her school is like at another small town, because each and every small town school is just slightly different. So first I want you to give a background of like where you went to high school, just kind of give an idea of like what your high school program was like,
Okay.
what your college program was like, and then kind of what overall like what your program is. So
Okay.
first high school.
Okay, well, my name's Juliana. I grew up in a really small town in Illinois, Durand, Illinois. Very small. I think we had 40 something people in my graduating class. Our band program was very tiny. I was in band and choir, but mostly band. We had a marching band of like 20, 25 people, and we'd march for football games, but not any competitions. We had like jazz band, pep band, just kind of like a standard small school, except we had one choir teacher, one band teacher, and they kind of ran the whole show. So that was my high school experience.
So college, what was your college like?
I went to Valparaiso University, Valpo. So it's a small private college up in northern Indiana. I think it's private. I hope that's a fact. But
Someone could fact check it.
yes,
Send us an email.
exactly. But I went to school there. Going in, I kind of had to choose between band and choir. I obviously wanted to do chorale. I was in show choir all throughout high school, so I thought I was set to do both, but you have to actually focus a little bit.
Yeah.
So I chose orchestra and just kind of did choir things on the side. And so I stuck with band my whole 4 years of college. We weren't a big school. We did not have a marching band. When I was joining, they tried to get one started up, and I think there was only like 3 people interested. So that did not happen. It was just concert band, a jazz band, typical ensembles.
Yeah. Okay, so your current situation, like what is your current school where you teach?
So as Katie said, I teach in a small school kind of right next to you.
Yeah, like right down the road.
Yeah, like literally down the road.
Yeah.
And where I teach, I am currently doing 5th through 12th band, choir, and some general music. At the high school level, I teach band, choir, music theory / history. We started history, but we're moving into a theory side of things. Middle school level, I do a 7th grade and 8th grade choir rotation. So I have a different set of students every 9 weeks. And then I also have 5th and 6th grade band and 7th grade band. That's all of it. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I forgot to add. Only on Fridays, I have a 5th or 6th grade general music class. But only on Fridays, and every Friday it's a different class. So it's kind of... Yeah.
Wonky.
Yes.
I used to kind of do something like that. Like when I was 6th grade was still considered elementary. 6th grade band would be during the activity time. So that was like that, the specials or whatever, the music, PE, art, library, STEM. And so those kids would miss their activity and come to band 4 days, but then they had to go do testing. So on Fridays they would go have library. And then I would have some random 6th grade class like stuck in music. So
they would just show up and it's like...
it was not ideal. We got that changed. And especially now they're in middle school. So it's like a dedicated band period. Like they don't have, an extra class. All right. So what are some... before I ask the next question, I'll just point out like Juliana she is the music department for her school. And which is daunting and kind of crazy. And if you might be in that situation, then you're not alone. There are others like you out there. And whereas I am the band department for my school, and I do some elementary music. Laura does the choir for our school. So we at least have 2 teachers, which is really nice. So what are some things about your school that like are things that are really good about it because it's a small school?
So you really get to know every student. It's small classes. Just kind of the community you build within your classes can be awesome. It's fun. I also enjoy that things we do like around the community are really appreciated because it's not like we have a ton of stuff happening around here.
Yeah.
So even like a small parade, everybody is so excited.
Yeah.
Pet band, I don't know, anything in front of the public is just everyone loves. Like pet band, I get so many people who are just so excited for that every year. And I love the enthusiasm around it. Yeah, like definitely I love having the smaller classes. That's definitely challenging when it comes to programming music and performing music, but it's nice when you're getting to know each student and yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think I always say, like, when people, talk about, like, oh, I can't imagine, being in a small school because you have so few instruments, or, like I don't have any trumpets, or, like, I got 1 saxophone player in my middle school band or whatever, and people are like, oh, that's crazy, I can't imagine. I'm like, well, sure, but I know exactly how each student performs. I know their ability. I know their skills. I know what they can handle. I know what they can't handle. And I know that for every single student. Whereas in a bigger program, like you have that 17th chair trombone player that you just maybe talk to, and that kid may or may not play, but you really don't have any idea because your band is so big that you don't know.
Yeah, in some cases you have maybe like 1 or 2 people per instrument. Yeah. Actually, like that's just how it is. I have maybe like 3 or 4.
Like a true wind ensemble.
It is. So you know exactly how each student plays. You know what you should select for music. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay, this part has this crazy, I don't know, flute part that we would struggle with. I have 7 flutes, so that's not the case. I've got a lot of flutes. But you also get good at things you didn't expect to really get good at, like arranging. In college, I did that for assignments, but I always thought, like, how practical is this? But now I'm like, oh, I arrange everything for every instrument and learn how to kind of make things work and move parts around so that everything's filled.
Yeah, so what are some challenges about the small school?
Definitely small. I mean, having smaller classes is a good thing and a bad thing.
Right.
So my choir currently has less than 5 people in it. A lot of that is stuff out of my control, but because of that, music is so hard because the students who are in the class are good singers and they've done it before. They want to sing more challenging music, but it's so hard to have each person on a different part. So that's a challenge. And then with band, instrumentation, as well as equipment, being in a small school, we don't have a ton of money getting thrown at us. And so some of our equipment is less than ideal and maybe not the prettiest thing you've ever seen, but we work with it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. So, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, we're talking about struggles, right? Okay. Yeah, it's definitely just so it's just me. So sometimes it's a lot of pressure because I'm like, okay, I have to plan this band concert and this choir concert and this fine arts event we're doing, as well as keep working towards contest and everything else that we're kind of working at, as well, like budgeting and finances. It's a lot sometimes. It's not necessarily bad, but it can be overwhelming if you don't kind of prioritize things and move things around importance-wise.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot. Like Laura and I in a previous episode had talked about like which of your things is rubber and which is glass. Kind of that, like you're juggling so many things. Some are glass and some are rubber. So like for me, contest is mostly a glass ball. Like I don't want to drop the ball on that. Like I want my kids to go to that. I want the plaque. I want that experience, and I want my kids to have that experience too. And then for me personally, pet band is kind of more of a rubber ball. Yeah. But for the community, pet band is like the most important thing ever.
It's like a giant crystal ball. Like this is
like the most expensive crystal.
I think part of that is just because it has the most exposure too. Like everybody hears a pet band.
Right. And And it is, like, I have to remind myself, especially in pep band season, I get really grumpy because there's so many games. And we do all the tournament games, like sectional, regional, semi-state, state. And so it gets, like, I can't plan my life for 2 whole months because it's like, well, you might have to be at the semi-state, you might have to be at the regional, you know. And I have to remind myself that, like, people really want us there. People want us there and people want to hear the band. And that's a really good thing because if they didn't, then my job would be in trouble.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, basketball season is very crazy. So I'm not from Indiana, and so when I moved here, everyone told me, no, you don't understand. Like, Indiana basketball is a thing. Yeah. Because when I was in high school, we did play at boys and girls basketball games, but it was kind of very casual. We'd play till halftime and then leave, and we'd only play a handful of games, and then all of a sudden, I know, you're thrown into, like, you need to be there, like, you are going to hype everybody up.
Every game, every single, yeah.
Yeah, which it's fun. I enjoy it, but yeah, I do get grumpy because sometimes it's like, okay, we've got how many games this week? And what else on top of that? I still have to go to school the next day? Like, oh my goodness.
And I know for me, too, it's like, there are so many other important things that my band does besides playing Final Countdown as the team runs out. You know, it's like, it's like, well, okay, great. Like, you're yelling at me because I didn't show up to this pep band event, but do you come to my concerts? Like, do you care about when we go to contests? And I get really frustrated with that. But again, it's that, like, you kind of play the game. Like, I can't remember if it was a podcast or my session at a conference that I presented for, but you got to figure out, like, what are the important things for your school? Is it basketball? Is it football? Is it some weird other obscure event? Like, is it the town parade that's, like, a huge deal? Like, I know another director will have on here, his town 4th of July parade is, like, the thing. It's the big thing that they do. And the guy's wife was in the school band program, and she was like, no. Like, you gotta take this seriously. Like, you can't slack off on this. Like, this is a big deal. People will get upset. People will get very upset. And so it's just traditions. The traditions, and, like, especially if you're a new teacher coming in and trying to change a bunch of stuff, like, you are gonna make some people mad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My advice to new teachers in an area they're not from, ask questions from everybody. Like, there's been so many times where students will help me out, other teachers. I've talked to parents about things they've done in the past, because if you go into a job and try and change everything right away,
good luck.
Yeah.
I changed the pep band t-shirts my first year because the way that they designed it, I was like, no, it's gonna be too much, it's too crazy, like, we're not doing that. Man, was that
it's something that seems so small, but it's so important.
And really, for everybody except for, like, 3 or 4 kids and 2 parents, it wasn't a big deal. So, long story short, like, I changed the shirts, and then the design that had gotten printed was, like, not what it was supposed to be, and there were a bunch of things wrong with it. And then I told the kids, I was like, look, I'm not paying for, like, we'll correct the mistakes on the shirt, but I'm not going to pay for all new shirts. Like, this is what we have. This is our shirt. And then, like, a parent, like, freaked out on me. And I was like, it's a t-shirt, guys. Like, why? Why are we like this?
Right.
Yeah, so you kind of already, said this, but what would be your advice for new teachers coming in?
Always... Okay, I've got a lot of advice.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot. We could do, like, every single episode would just be a new piece of advice.
Yes. So this is my 2nd year teaching, but my 1st year at the small school next to Katie. And so I kind of feel like I've been a 1st year teacher 2 years in a row, which is unique. But definitely don't be afraid to ask questions and talk to other teachers. If you are in a situation like I have been for 2 years, where you are the music department, it can get kind of challenging. But don't be afraid to reach out to other band directors in the area. I didn't really do that last year, so it's been nice having friends. I'm like, oh my gosh, you understand? Also, don't be afraid to... Okay, so you have to allow yourself to have time for you. A lot of 1st year music teachers will do everything and get burned out, and you have to be careful. That doesn't mean don't do anything and say no, and definitely
Right.
continue tradition.
There's a balance, but
Yes.
it's also like figure out what you need for yourself.
Yes, because you are not going to be able to be the best teacher you can be without taking care of yourself first. So definitely be careful on or take care of yourself first. That's so important. But yeah, ask questions. Don't be afraid to change things a little. Going into a program, you don't have to do everything as the person before you has done, but you have to be prepared for some pushback from students and community.
Yeah.
So that's some off the top of my head.
Yeah, absolutely. I would also add to that, just like when parents are yelling at you, just remember that the ones that are mad at you are just louder than the ones that are not mad at you. And like, if I count the times parents have yelled at me versus the times they have praised me or given me like good emails or good comments, then like it's much more that they have been nice to me. And remember, as a first year teacher, like they're gonna push against you because you are different and you are going to change things. No, like even without trying, like you're different. You're obviously you're not the same person. And just remember that like the longer that you stay in that school, the more they're gonna trust you, and the more that they're going to like you because they get to know you and know who you are. And yeah, the less angry emails, and you learn the system better. You gain their trust, you understand who's who and how to do what and what buttons to push at certain times, things like that.
Yeah, you definitely going into a real teaching position, I was definitely not ready for the parent communication that is potential. You can't let every little thing bring you down. My first teaching job, there was a lot of, oh, well, you're not our old director and we miss her. And I took it really personally at first. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I don't know if I can do this. They don't want me here. But that's not the case. A lot of it was just, we're used to this. We're used to this teaching style. We do this. Like, this is how our practices are usually lined up. Or rehearsals. I'm trying to coach and it's a whole thing. But you have to understand that it's just different and a lot of people don't like change, and so don't let that bring you down. Just keep push forward. It gets better.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we kind of do a segment called Things We Like, and it's essentially just like it could be a product, like it could be something you bought, it could be like a routine, like a self-care thing, or just like something you do that makes your life easier or better while you're teaching. So
coffee.
Yeah.
Can that be my answer?
Yeah. Is it like a specific brand of coffee or like?
No, anything with caffeine free. That's kind of like my joking answer. I have to think of a serious answer, but no, seriously, coffee like every morning. No matter what, at least 1 cup. I have a Keurig in my office. I don't know if I told you this, but I don't know why. This is a mystery, but sawdust comes through my vents. And so I stopped using my Keurig because I kept coming in my office and it was just like coated with sawdust, and I'm like, this is gross. Yeah, what is this? And so I've given up on making coffee at school and I just bring it from home. But something that makes me happy. I do a lot of reflection and kind of meditation. I go for walks a lot and just kind of think about long-term goals with the program. Do you mean like school related or like in my personal life?
I mean either one. It could be like anything that benefits your life.
Okay. Definitely just like a lot of reflection that both with work and personal life, taking time to just think and not do anything while I think, to just sit and let thoughts go through my head and not type emails while I do it, to focus. And that helps me feel like I see things clearer and have a better plan moving forward with everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think something that I do, this isn't a new thing that I've been doing, but I deleted Facebook from my phone. Like I still have my Facebook. It's off my phone. And, like, I try really hard to not open up the web browser of Facebook because I just find that I get really judgy. And, like, it brings me down. It's like I look at everyone's posts and I'm like, you did that? Cool. Like, aren't you so great? And it just, like, puts me in a really, like, weird, like, judgmental and, like, comparison mindset. And then I'm like, okay, stop. Like, pause. Like, this is not real life. Facebook is not real life. That
is excellent, and I probably need to do that. Because lately I've been like, oh, man. Like, you went where for your spring break? And, like, why does everyone else get to do fun things? And I feel like I put myself down without realizing it.
All the time. And then I'm just mad and, like, in a bad mood. I'm like, I'm so angry. And I'm like, oh, because I looked on Facebook and got real judgy with everyone else. I think I do that a lot with, like, because obviously all my Facebook friends are also, like, music teachers. So I'm like, they got an award and, like, their band got nominated for this, and, like, man, I'm not doing that, and, like, oh, we suck, and they're like, okay, stop. Like, no, you don't.
So that reminds me, I've been told, like, time and time again as a musician not to compare yourself to people because everyone is very different. From, like, I play clarinet from a clarinet playing standpoint, but it's so true with teaching too, because we're all teaching at different schools. We have different experiences and environments and different students.
Resources and...
Yes, like, you may have a 70-person band.
And great.
That's wonderful. That's a lot of people compared to what I'm currently with. Like, I've got 30.
Right.
So, less than 30. That's pushing it.
I'm 17, so it's okay.
Okay. Yeah. It's just everyone is very different, and you can't look at other teachers and be like, jealous.
Yeah. All right, so thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it.
Yes, of course.
So if you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on the Instagram at small-town music, small_town music. And then, I'm so sorry. It's been so long since I've done this. small.town music. On Instagram, on TikTok, we're Small Town Music. I haven't put up a TikTok yet.
You have a TikTok?
We do. I haven't put any videos on, and I really need to. And if someone wants to email to help me, our email is smalltownmusicpodcast@gmail.com because I have no idea what to put. Maybe today will be the first one. Maybe Juliana will help me with TikTok. So TikTok, Instagram, email. You can find us on YouTube, Small Town Music. Find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, and Podbean at Small Town Music. And thank you so much for listening. I hope the audio was better this week. I know last week it was a little quiet because we were in my band room, and those microphones are really good for music, but not as good for podcasting. So anyway, thank you so much. Contact us. Let us know things you want to hear about if you're out there. Let us know that you're listening. I don't know. I post it every week, and I assume someone listens. But thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me.